Here we
It's
go.
all about Tomo. When this happened, I was with my dad chilling on Father's Day. But all I could do is think about you when I got this message.
I
All
feel
right.
special, man.
All right. Bradley Beal. Oh, first of all, shout out to all the fathers, to all the father figures. All right. Happy Father's Day. Hope y'all had a great Father's Day. And once again, shout out to all the ancestors that look like me and all you guys on here right now. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be here right now. So shout out. So look, Tomo, Bradley Beal, man. Bradley Beal, bombshell. He controlled his own destiny. He had a no trade clause, the only one in the NBA. And he chose a destination and he chose to go to the Phoenix Suns. All right. They traded Chris Paul, Shamit, and a bunch of second round picks for Bradley Beal. Tomo, what was your reaction to that?
The producers know. The producers know. That's exactly what it was. And shout out to you, J-Mo. I told you, man. Once you gave me the title, I was like, I was going to use it at some point.
Yes,
Perfect
sir.
time.
No question.
Literally, the Wizards are rebuilding. Get them out of here, man. Get them out of here. But nah, let me before I get the jokes off, first things first, let me get down to business, right? Bradley, real deal, or the Panda, Bill. That's what we used to call him in DC, right? Drafted first round, number 3 pick. You know, one part of the debatable best backcourt in the NBA. You know, they called him the House of Gods at one point. Debatable. You can make your faces. Man, this guy, right? He was a Wizard. Second in franchise in points. Third franchise assist leader. Second in steals with the franchise. First in threes, of course, because not that many Wizards shoot threes. I don't think we've seen that many since Gill and maybe Bowman. But outside of that, man, Bradley, thank you for everything you gave to the Wizards when you were here and when you were actually on the court. You know, because you had some clutch moments. But once Tommy Shepard, first things first, y'all know you're done, son, right? You're done, son. If you haven't watched that, go back and watch that. What I said about Tommy Shepard.
You're
But remember
done,
how
son.
out of here. Remember how the NBA changed their names of their awards? I might have to change your done, son, to the Tommy Shepard Award because he's the reason why Bradley Beal had to go to the Suns. Let me tell you about this contract. For all the Wizards fans that's out there, they've been going back and forth. So, man, that was a bad trade. We could have got so much more. How? With the no trade clause, Bradley Beal was not going to give us no. The only thing he did for us was waive that 15% trade kicker. Everything else, he's like, I'm not about to help y'all. I want to leave. This contract was 5 years, $251 million. $251 million. Who you think? Who you trying to kidnap? Chelsea Clinton? But I ain't. Let me stop.
I would kill myself for $250 million.
Hey, if you was on the rooftop, man, y'all know what we talking about right now, man. The movie references gonna fly left and right. But the no trade clause alone, no player in the NBA has that right now. No active star. LeBron doesn't have it. Steph doesn't have it. KD doesn't have it. Giannis might because Bill got it now, but nobody else has it. And Tommy Shepard want to be so loyal that he kind of like put a bad bone in the Wizards' back. And I'm just happy he gone, man. Shout out to the front office for making some type of deal happen. We're going to see what happens with Chris Paul. I mean, maybe you can take whatever team he gets and flip that. Maybe you can talk Kuz into opting in and doing a signing trade. But right now, I am so happy that this team finally has a vision. Because right now, I don't care if we tank for the next 2 years. Just know, think about OKC and the Clippers. For all the fans out there, just remember that. Joe, what you think about it?
Next, let's get it. Bill, man. When you started off your speech, I thought you were doing it, you're done, son. That's how you was doing it, right? I was waiting for it. But look, terrible contract. And I thought that y'all did a good move. Like you said, like I heard a lot of talk, people were saying it's a dumb trade by the Wizards, but what else you gonna do? I mean, either eat up that contract another year, or you just give Grant Bill his wishes. Y'all only job was let's get rid of this contract. I don't care how we get rid of it. Let's get this thing out of our hands. The good thing is y'all got Chris Paul, and now y'all can flip Chris Paul or something, because he wants to go to LA, either the Clippers or the Lakers, because his family's in LA. So
let's go Clippers.
Yeah, like I think he will go to the Clippers too. It just makes more sense when it comes to winning the championship because the Lakers roster is not filled out either. They got some free agents they got to deal with too. But over 20 million I got rid of. Bill had a leverage. But this is what I'm interested in. This will be the first time in Bradley Beal's career he's going to have DeMarcus to go on him. First time in his career. Every game the Suns play, they're going to be on now. Every single game. So I want to see how he's going to respond to that. I think Bill and Devin Booker are kind of like the same player. Both of them came into the game being 3-point marksmen, like people. They both got compared to Ray Allen. And then as their years went by, they both turned into mid-range assassins, basically, right? So Bradley Beal is more of a mid-range shooter. So is Devin Booker. I think only thing Bradley Beal makes 2 threes a game. I think when I checked, it was 1.5 threes. But one thing about Bradley Beal, he could also handle the ball, right? His last 2 years with the Wizards, he played a lot of the point, a lot of the ball handling in the pick and roll. I think his assists went up the last 2 years. So I think they could play good together. And having Frank Vogel, a defensive-minded head coach, I got to see how they're going to fill this roster out. So I'm not going to say they're the favorites. I'm not going to say none of that stuff because all they can do right now, they're not the favorites, I don't think. All they can do right now is sign a bunch of veterans on the veteran minimum. And I mean, like every year, they're going to have new role players, basically, So I got to see how this roster fill out for me to make a judgment on this team.
Shamo. Oh, Carl.
But
Go ahead, Carl.
Oh, all right, cool. So welcome to the bottom, my brother. Welcome to the bottom. We here now.
we really got the same smart tech.
Nah, for real. All right, so to be honest, I think it was a good move. But it's kind of one of the moves where you give the GM credit for digging himself out of a hole he put himself into. Because this is a year removed from signing Bradley Beal to that contract. You could have just not signed him. But again, you do get the pick swaps in the first round. We'll see what those are. Those have yet to be released. You get the extra second round picks. You now dump the contract. So it's kind of like you didn't sign him. Kind of. He barely played. Correct me if I'm wrong. He barely played last year. Like he played a couple games. Maybe. Did he play half the season?
Yeah.
Okay. But again, you move. I think I seen at one point down the line, y'all was going to own like $57 million for 1 year.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so y'all got that out of there. Again, like Joe said, you could flip Chris Paul for something. You still got the 8th pick. Hopefully, we don't know. Like again, we don't know the pick swap, so we don't know if that's involved. But if you do keep the 8th pick, you can still get a guy like Anthony Black, who's a really good point guard.
We keeping our 8th pick.
Y'all keeping the 8th pick?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So then again, you can get Anthony Black, really good point guard out of Arkansas. And yeah, you just rebuild from there. It gives you room to sign Porzingis and Kuzma if you chose to do so. And you can fill out the roster. I like the move for the Wizards. Like, again, a lot of people said, well, hey, why y'all couldn't go such and such? You could have got so much more from other players, other teams, But, again, like y'all said, one, he would have to waive the no-trade clause in order for the deal to go through. And two, not too many teams will want to take on that type of contract. It's like a huge salary dump for a team to take that. So a lot of teams is not going to say, okay, we'll take all this money, but give you all of this. Nah, it's not going to work like that. So I think I did make the best available move. I'm somewhat excited for Phoenix because, again, they're going to have to probably go over the salary. They're probably going to have to go into luxury and eat that luxury tax to fill out that roster. So if y'all don't bring that for less than the ring, then not really going to be worth it. But that's all I had to say. Welcome to the bottom.
I think they're already over the luxury tax for real.
That could be true as well.
So to back on what you said about Bill, Carl, 2022 he played 40 games. Last year he played 50 games. So yeah, basically half season, both years. I think it was a good move for both teams. To be honest with you, the Wizards had to get rid of the money. Get up off that money, like I said, get off the contract, and the Suns needed some more, whatever they need. And they it's either you get some more depth or you get another bucket getter, and they got another bucket getter. So it kind of, barring any injuries, they don't have to get as much depth as they had to get before, because Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, and Kevin Durant can all, to some extent, score and facilitate. So we seen Chris Paul playing with Devin Booker and Kevin Durant last year, and when Chris Paul got hurt, Devin Booker and Kevin Durant, it's like they took their game went to another level. They it was more freely. They wasn't coming off pin downs, waiting for Chris Paul to pass them the ball. They was coming up and creating the offense. So a team with those three doesn't really need like a pure point guard. You know what I mean? They're gonna show you as far as handling the ball and settling down in situations. They're gonna show you what Boston should be doing since they don't have a clear cut point guard. But I think it was a good move for both teams. As far as the Wizards, I think that if they don't flip Chris Paul into something nice, then I don't. I mean, I don't know if they're gonna keep Porzingis and Kuzma and like start from there, or if they're gonna get rid of them too and do a full rebuild. But just speaking on the trade, I think it was a good trade for both teams. And like you said, Bill got the no trade clause. So it's like what I say goes. They can't just go out and find whatever is the best deal for the team. They got to make sure Bill good with it. So I mean, I think it was a good move for both teams, and I'm waiting to see how not only how Phoenix is going to fill out that roster, but I'm anxious to see how Frank Vogel is going to handle that offense with those three players.
That is, it's going to be very exciting in the desert. It's going to be very exciting.
Shout out to Tommy Shepard.
Hey, if I was Tommy Shepard or the GM for the Suns, because I think they say the Sun and Bradley Beal agent, like they close. So I don't know about the tampering things, but New York, the Knicks know about that, right?
I was speaking of New York. I was just about to say, a lot of people making it seem like it's like Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell wanted out. He wanted to go to New York, and it was rumored that Utah sent him to Cleveland as a punishment. Like the Wizards couldn't do that. They couldn't be like, "Hey, you want to leave? We'll send you to the Rockets." Bye. Like you can't do that. They couldn't do that. So
kind of like what the Spurs did to Kawhi.
Yeah.
He want a ring.
He want a ring.
There are teams calling for DeAndre Ayton, so they could flip DeAndre Ayton for more role play pieces, which he's overpaid. I think all of us on the panel agree with that. He's overpaid. So they could flip him and turn him some role pieces, and they still have campaign. All right, they still have the opportunity to re-sign him. So he will still be on the roster also, but he will be getting a pay raise if they re-sign him, which is hitting the cap even more. But the owner said that he don't care about the luxury tax. He don't care about that. So he's realizing that though. I mean, look at Golden State.
Yeah, you that far along, bro. You can't care now. You that far along.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like you said about DeAndre Ayton, with those three stars they got, you could Clint Capella would fit better easily. You know what I mean? Somebody like that.
Would.
Man, Utah found Kessler. You know what I mean?
Shout out to Carl. That's his boy.
That's my
name,
boy.
right?
Yeah, Walker Kessler.
Yeah, so like they found him. Like you got players like that. If you put them in the right situation, they will do their job. Kind of like Zubac with the Clippers. Like they went and got them from the Lakers. Like nobody thought he was gonna be a valuable piece. Look at him now. So if James Jones, I trust him. I think he'll do a good job building that roster out.
One last thing, Tom. I'm sorry. Before y'all move on, I want to say shout out to Bradley Beal's agent because they said only like 10 or 12 people in NBA history have had this kind of no trade clause in their contract, and all of them are first ballot Hall of Famers. I don't know if they think of Bill as a first ballot Hall of Famer. So shouts out to his agent for getting him this contract. No funny.
Well, you know what? I am gonna move on out there, but you wanna know what's funny? I think his agent and the situation with the Wizards was like divine intervention because he was like, well, Tommy Shepard loves this guy so much, and Bill, he wants to keep Bill because other than that, he's gonna lose his job. So let's just throw anything in there and see if they'll do it. And Tommy Shepard was like, okay, you can have a no trade clause. What else you want? I'm like, what?
In that list, Damo, Carmelo is the worst player on that list. That's how good that list is.
Was.
Okay.
I just want to throw a shot at UNC. They had Walker Kessler and they didn't play him. Let him go. He won SEC Defensive Player of the Year and all that at Auburn.
Well, since you're talking about UNC, we.
Thank you for staying to the end. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like this video, subscribe, and also hit that notification button so you can be notified next time we put out a video. If you're listening on any podcast platform, subscribe and hit that notification button, y'all, so you can be notified we put out another podcast audio. And last but not least, hit that share button. No matter what you're listening to or watching it, hit that share button and send it to somebody that you know that would love to watch this episode you just listened to. So once again, thank you for staying to the end, and we'll see y'all in the next episode.